Hello, my name is David Kleiman. I'm with the EMS Operations Division. We're going to talk about the ViaValve IV catheter that is currently out on every apparatus. I'd like to go over a couple special features about it that I'm not sure if some people are aware of, but more importantly, we've had several needle sticks lately due to not using the IV catheter properly, and we're going to go over those specifics in a few. So the ViaValve has several features that I'd like to point out real quick. The first of the ViaValve has a normal flange like every IV catheter. But what's unique about the ViaValve is they have ridges on the catheter, so that once we start inserting off of the flange, if we don't have long fingers, we can bring our gloved finger down to grab a hold of the ridges to help insert the IV catheter to make it easier. The next feature that the ViaValve has is they have a tiny hole in the actual steel needle part that blood will actually come out and fill up the IV catheter before it gets to the hub. It's a good indicator to us of when we're actually in that vein. The last feature, which is what makes the ViaValve, is that in here is a membrane. We'll show you a video in a second that once the blood starts to come up into the hub and the needle is actually withdrawn, the ViaValve will actually shut behind it so blood does not come pouring out of it while you're inserting your INT. So the way a ViaValve works is you've actually got the catheter inserted into a vein. So prior to this, there was no blood physically able to come up due to the ViaValve. When you put on an INT or a normal flush in here, it's going to press a ring down, and that's going to open up the membrane. This is the membrane, the ViaValve, that prevents blood from flowing out, but once the INT is on, it pushes, it's going to open up the leaflets, and that is going to allow our fluid or medication to be inserted in. So what makes this catheter a safety catheter is that once you withdraw the needle all the way back to the click, the needle is encased in plastic. If you hear the click, this needle is now a safety needle and you cannot stick yourself. You have to hear the click. So the first thing I want to point out is this video is about the one-handed insertion technique. When you've got your flanges up, your bevel is orientated to the proper way to insert it. Behind the flange up, is the ridges. The ridges are to help your fingers walk the catheter in to hear the click. On both sides, the manufacturer put little grips, so if your fingers are sweaty or you've got blood on them, it's something to hold on to as you are inserting the catheter into the vein. So as you can see here, this is the hole I was talking about that is in the steel needle. As soon as the bevel pierces the vein, the first thing the blood's going to do is come out of the hole in the catheter. It's going to fill the catheter up to the hub, but it will show that in the catheter before the hub. This will show you're in the vein before you even start to insert the actual catheter in the vein. Finger is behind the flange. As he starts to push forward, the finger is behind the flange. If needed, because you don't have long fingers, you can walk your finger back to the next ridge to help you keep inserting the catheter in the vein. If you need to, you can go to the second rib, the third rib, or the fourth rib to insert the catheter into the vein until you hear the click. You've got to hear the click to make the needle safely in the plastic. As you can see, the ViaValve has engaged itself. The membrane is covering. There's no blood coming out of the hub of the catheter in. Once you insert your INT, it compresses the ViaValve and our fluid or medication can go through the membrane. So the video showed you the one-handed technique. I'm going to show you the two-handed technique. I've already got everything prepped. I've actually found the vein. I'm going to clean the vein properly. I'm going to pull out my catheter. As you can see, flange up. When the flange is there, your bevel is at the proper orientation to insert. I'm going to hold traction. I'm going to insert the vein. I'll see blood come up inside the catheter, so I know I'm in. So on the two-handed technique, you're going to drop your angle. My backhand will stay firmly planted on the patient's skin. my back two fingers that's holding the guide ridges will not move. They will stick themselves to the patient's skin. My other hand that was holding traction will come over the top. It will go onto the hub, and I will push the hub to the skin. Once the hub is at the skin, my back two fingers that were not moving will then go back and keep going back until I hear the click. Once I hear the click, the catheter comes off. It is safely in the plastic. I can go to the sharps container. No blood is coming out due to the ViaValve. I can then insert my INT on, pull my tourniquet, and flush appropriately and secure. So once you have finished doing your IV and everything is flowing, your medications or your fluids, your IV catheter, you've done the click, it's safe, it is now needleless, there's no way to stab yourself. We all know that every patient we need to get a D-stick on. That means you have to use a lancet to get a proper drop of blood to do a glucometer on your patient. You cannot and will not manipulate this, or you will stick yourself with a needle. So once you have heard the click, the needle is safely encased in the plastic. It's ready for the sharps container. If you have any further questions or need any additional training, contact the EMS Operations Division. We'll happily answer any questions or come out for further training.